This teenage wannabe rapper somehow had all his charges dropped and walked free even after shooting a cop in the leg. She finally admitted that she made everything up in the Duke lacrosse case. And this couple stole close to $1 million in merchandise from Lululemon with their slick misdirection. Who are the people we need to kick out of society? Let's find out, starting with number 6, Walking Free. Camrin Williams is a teenage drill rapper known as C Blu. In case you didn't know, drill rap typically has dark beats and raw lyrics about street life and survival. He had been at the center of multiple legal troubles over several years. His most high-profile case happened back in January of 2022 when a scuffle with NYPD officers in the Bronx resulted in a firearm getting discharged, with the round injuring both Williams and Officer Kasim Pennant. Officers had responded to reports of a disorderly crowd, and during the confrontation, Williams had allegedly refused to remove his hands from his pockets for whatever stupid reason. A single round injuring both guys. At the time of the incident, Williams was already on probation for a 2020 arrest for possessing a firearm at just 14 years old. Following the January incident, he was arrested and detained in a juvenile facility. However, just 9 days later, Williams posted a $250,000 bond using funds from a recording contract advance with Interscope Records. The bail release caused significant controversy, particularly among law enforcement groups. NYPD Police Benevolent Association President Patrick Lynch criticized the decision, pointing to concerns about public safety and calling the release emblematic of broader issues in the justice system. Despite his release, Williams was sent back to juvenile detention just a week later for violating his probation terms related to the earlier 2020 case. Then, in May of 2022, basically 4 months later, the charges from the January shooting were unexpectedly dropped. The city's law department explained that Williams cannot be prosecuted due to some legal constraints, though details remain sealed under family court laws. Bronx Supreme Court Justice Nata Samaj also ruled that the officers had no probable cause to search Williams during the initial encounter, leading to his release. Williams' legal troubles continued into 2023. In November of that year, he was arrested again in the Bronx while allegedly carrying a loaded firearm. Law enforcement reported seeing him running toward a vehicle and fumbling with his waistband before stopping him. The repeated arrests and releases of Williams have sparked public outcry and debate over judicial decisions, bail reform, and youth involvement in crime. Williams' attorney has consistently emphasized his promising music career, which we're sure spreads positivity and messages of human kindness, noting the millions of views on his YouTube videos, while critics point to his repeated firearm offenses as a serious concern. And of course, his mother, Monique McGriff, defended him because, well, she's his mom. She claimed that her son was unfairly targeted by the police, suggesting the firearm found during his 2023 arrest didn't belong to him. She also explained that he's a minor, so therefore he's somehow not a menace to society, and expressed her belief in his innocence while criticizing the police actions. We are pretty sure Ted Bundy's mom said similar things. Kids and crime is such a tough issue to solve. On one hand, they're still kids, no matter how grown up their actions may seem. Their prefrontal cortexes aren't fully developed, and they're not capable of making decisions like adults. But on the other hand, the consequences of the crimes they commit are just as real no matter their age. There's no easy answer, but we can only hope this kid turns things around before one more reckless decision leads to consequences that can't be undone. Number 5. Late Confessions. Crystal Mangum, the woman at the center of the infamous 2006 Duke lacrosse case, has publicly admitted for the first time that she lied about the allegations of inappropriate conduct against 3 players. Speaking from prison, where she's serving time for a separate conviction, Mangum expressed remorse, finally acknowledging the harm caused by her false testimony. In a candid interview with Let's Talk with Kat, Mangum admitted that she made up a story that wasn't true and sought forgiveness from the 3 men, David Evans, Colin Finnerty, and Riyad Seligman. Since and they didn't deserve what she did. Mangum also revealed that her actions stemmed from a desire for validation, explaining that she wanted validation from people and not from God. The Duke lacrosse case captivated national attention and sparked intense debate over issues of race, privilege, and justice. The 3 accused players were arrested, suspended from school, and saw their lacrosse season canceled. Former Durham County District Attorney Mike Nafong, who pursued the case aggressively, was later disbarred for withholding DNA evidence that would have demonstrated that the accused players weren't involved in the alleged incident. The charges against the players were eventually dismissed in 2007, and they were declared innocent by then Attorney General Roy Cooper. The players later settled lawsuits against Duke University and its then president Richard Broadhead for mishandling the case. Mangum's admission comes nearly 2 decades after the incident. Though she can no longer face perjury charges due to the statute of limitations, her public apology seems heartfelt since she didn't have to offer it up and really got no benefit from her admission. Reflecting on the lasting impact of her false claims, Mangum said she hopes the guys can forgive her. Mangum's personal struggles have been well documented, including legal troubles and mental health challenges. Despite her troubled past, her apology and acknowledgement of wrongdoing seem like a sincere attempt to make amends for the pain she caused. How do you feel about her admission and apology? Is it really sincere? Is it enough considering the damage she did? Is it too little too late? Or are you like, good for her for at least finally owning it? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Number 4. Racing to burglary. Antonio Ginestri, a YouTuber known online as Squeeze Benz, was charged in connection with a series of burglaries across New Jersey. Ginestri, infamous for a bunch of pointless, reckless driving videos, was arrested after Fairfield police identified him as one of 3 suspects involved in a gas station burglary. Authorities linked the vehicles and suspects to similar burglaries in Roseland, Secaucus, and Hasbrook Heights, as well as additional crimes in New York and Connecticut. A 16-year-old accomplice, whose name hasn't been released, was also arrested alongside Ginestri. Ginestri, who had amassed over 1 million followers on social media, built his following by showing off dangerous stunts in high-end cars, often provoking police responses. Videos showed him performing donuts around patrol vehicles and evading law enforcement at speeds exceeding 130 miles per hour. Wearing a full-face helmet to obscure his identity, Ginestri gained notoriety as one of the most prolific street racers in New York City, according to the NYPD. This isn't Ginestri's first run-in with the law either. He was also arrested for going after some guy at a Queens deli just days after the gas station robbery. That investigation revealed his identity as the daring YouTuber behind numerous high-speed stunts in the tri-state area. As of the release of this video, Ginestri is facing multiple charges, including burglary, conspiracy, theft, and employing a juvenile in the commission of a crime, and remains in custody at Bergen County Jail. Police credited their success in apprehending him to collaboration with other law enforcement agencies. While Ginestri's attorney hasn't provided comment, the charges are a significant turn for the influencer, whose dangerous exploits have drawn attention and could potentially play a role in his upcoming trial. It's always like a late little Christmas gift when an annoying and dangerous influencer gets busted for doing stupid things, isn't it? Number 3. Abercrombie and trafficking. Former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO, 80-year-old Mike Jeffries, appeared in a Long Island courtroom facing trafficking and exploitation charges. He pleaded not guilty to the allegations and was released on a $10 million bond backed by a Long Island property. As part of his release conditions, Jeffries is confined to his home, monitored electronically, and prohibited from contacting co-defendants, witnesses, or alleged victims. If he's convicted, Jeffries could end up with life in prison. The charges stem from a 16-count indictment accusing Jeffries, his partner Matthew Smith, and James Jacobson of operating a global trafficking ring between 2008 and 2015. Prosecutors claim the trio spent millions of dollars recruiting and coercing dozens of men into illicit acts, using Jeffries' position at Abercrombie to lure victims with promises of modeling opportunities. Allegations describe victims being lied to about the nature of private gatherings hosted by Jeffries and his partner, which were presented as exclusive opportunities for modeling or professional advancement. Attendees were reportedly pressured into signing NDAs, surrendering their phones, and were given alcohol and illegal substances. Prosecutors further allege that some victims were subjected to invasive and non-consensual acts during these gatherings, which they claim were intentionally designed to exploit and coerce the attendees. James Jacobson, identified as a recruiter, allegedly conducted the tryouts that involved creepy cats with him before candidates were introduced to Jeffries. Jacobson pleaded not guilty and was released on a $500,000 bond. Matthew Smith remains detained due to flight risk concerns tied to his dual U.S.-British citizenship. The indictment lists 15 victims, though authorities believe there are many more. Former model Barrett Paul shared his experience, explaining that he felt lied to and trapped when he was flown to Jeffries' home for what he thought was a legitimate modeling opportunity. He described the encounter as one of the darkest experiences of his life. Abercrombie & Fitch has since condemned the allegations, expressing shock and disgust. If convicted, Jeffries and his co-defendants could face sentences ranging from 15 years to life in prison. As of the release of this video, Jeffries' defense team has raised concerns about his mental fitness to stand trial, citing findings that suggest he may be suffering from dementia and other cognitive impairments. A competency hearing is scheduled for June of 2025 to assess his ability to participate in his defense, a decision that could significantly impact the direction of the case. Number 2, an elderly surprise. An elderly woman showed legitimately tough she is during an attempted robbery at a Brooklyn subway station. Linda Rose, 71, a retired MTA computer operations worker, was heading to a New Year's Day church service when she was confronted by a group of teenage girls at Hoyt Street Station. They wanted to take her stuff, and she was like, "Not today." The teens targeted Rosa as she passed through the turnstile, with one attempting to snatch her purse. Refusing to surrender, Rosa held onto her purse tightly. Another teen escalated the situation, striking Rosa in the face, which caused her glasses to fall and left her with a cut on her nose. Despite the chaos, Rosa, being the tough cookie she is, fought back anyway, determined to keep her stuff. During the scuffle, one teen grabbed a clutch containing Rosa's ID and medical records. Rosa attempted to kick the teen, but fell in the process, suffering a stomp to her body. Sensing further danger, Rosa acted swiftly. She grabbed one of the teen's braids, pulling her down, and later did the same to another, effectively pinning both teens face down. Her shouts for help finally caused the group to flee, ultimately abandoning the clutch. Rosa then went to the Brooklyn Tabernacle Church, where staff called 911. She was later treated at the Brooklyn Hospital Center for her injuries. Grateful to have avoided more severe harm, Rosa expressed forgiveness, describing the teenagers as acting foolish. That's definitely a little more of a charitable assessment than we would have given. As of the release of this video, the NYPD is searching for the suspects whose images were captured on surveillance footage, but we all know they're going to get away with this. The incident is another example of growing concerns about crime in New York City's transit system, where similar incidents have happened to vulnerable individuals. It's like we're back in the 80s all over again. Where are Bernie Goetz and Charles Bronson when you need them? Seriously though, how can you not love Rosa? She's 71, standing her ground and fighting back. Honestly, she's the kind of person you just have to root for. Number 1. Shoplifting misdirections. A Connecticut couple, Jadian Richards and Aqueli Laws Richards, allegedly ran a sophisticated theft ring that grabbed nearly $1 million in stolen Lululemon merchandise over a 2-month spree, which probably only translated to like 10 pairs of leggings and some shorts, right? That brand is seriously crazy expensive for whatever reason. Anyway, the operation spanned multiple states, including Minnesota, Colorado, Utah, and their home state of Connecticut. Investigators say the couple employed various tactics, such as using fake purchase receipts, transferring security sensors to legitimate items, and distracting store employees while concealing goods under their clothing. The scheme began to unravel when Richards and Laws Richards set off a security alarm at a Minnesota Lululemon store. While Richards accused employees of profiling him, Investigators linked the pair to earlier thefts involving thousands of dollars in merchandise. Police also discovered $50,000 worth of stolen items in their hotel room, packed into suitcases, and estimated the total stolen goods from their crime spree to be worth around $1 million. The couple reportedly returned stolen merchandise to Lululemon stores in Connecticut and New York to obtain cash, exploiting store return policies. Their arrest came after months of monitoring by Lululemon's internal investigators who collaborated with law enforcement to track the couple's activities across states. Both suspects face charges of organized retail theft under Minnesota's newly enacted law, which carries a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison and a $35,000 fine. Of course, they denied the allegations and were released on bond with future court proceedings expected. Retail theft has been a giant problem nationwide, prompting companies and lawmakers to finally take stronger action. Lululemon's Vice President of Asset Protection emphasized the company's commitment to combating these crimes through advanced technology, team training, and investigative efforts. Cases like this have led to tougher penalties and greater collaboration between corporations and law enforcement. Ultimately, shoplifting criminals just make everything more expensive for those of us that don't steal. Click to watch one of these next videos.